Welcome to the Coach's Corner. John Stanko of ICGaels.com, being joined by the always fashionable Director of Cross Country and Track and Field, Joe Pienta. Joe, thanks for taking the time.
John, I appreciate you taking the time to interview me. Apologize for the sunglasses, but I had a doctor's appointment, checked out my eyes, I had a retinal scan, and when my ornithologist says you got to wear sunglasses, I got to do it.
Listen, you got to listen to the doc.
Absolutely. Yeah, always.
Well, first of all, are you excited to now begin your first season as the director of the Iona College Cross Country Track and Field program?
Very much so, especially if by excited you mean anxiety-ridden. But joking aside, it's an honor to represent the school and really take ownership of the program for myself, following up Ricardo Santos and Mick Byrne and all the great coaches that have been here. It's a privilege and an honor, so I don't take it lightly, despite what hat I might be wearing in an interview. So I am very excited for the season to get underway. We have a new staff and everything, so everything's going great. We have a great group of kids, and I think they're going to do really well this year.
All right, thank you for lending me a perfect segue. You are joined now by Eric Jolivet, new assistant coach for you guys. You brought him in over the summer. What's he going to bring to the program?
That's a good question. I ask him that every day. What are you bringing to the maroon and gold? And we call him Jolly around the office for short. That's his nickname. And he does bring a certain amount of jolliness. That's why, on the interview and, the experience he's brought, he's worked with Mick Byrne at Wisconsin for a couple of years. He did a great job last year at St. Thomas, a Division III school in Minnesota, with the women's team. And I think he's got a great disposition. And he handles me pretty well so far in the first, it's only been a couple of weeks. So, I tell him, every time he's like, hey, do you need me to do anything at the end of the day? I'm like, I just tell him, hey, if you think you've done a good enough job for today, then you can go home.
Well, he's always smiling for sure. I think you guys probably have the happiest and most jovial office in the entire Heinz Center, I'd be willing to say.
Oh yeah, it's a facade.
Well, the one thing you might have to worry about this year is a D family mutiny. Do you have to worry about that?
Well, yeah. That's probably first and foremost a major locker room concern with Liam, Jamie, and Elliot joining us this year. The three of them are at opposite ends of the locker room. They've gone on record to say that they will not room together on away trips. But to be honest, the most concerning element of the D family is a combination of their old man Billy D and their junkyard dog Henry. It's a mean dog. And Billy came up to Maverick. Maverick was out recruiting in England this summer, his first time in England, and we're just scoping out English school championships. And Billy comes up to him and he threatens him with the dog. You better take care of my boys, he says. And we will, Billy. Don't worry about it. We don't want to see Henry over here. Although we might have to bring him over on scholarship if you demand it. So.
Well, I think you'll be taking care of this program well, and the nation thinks so as well. In the preseason national poll, you guys ranked 17th and second in the region. Do you look at that as like a standard bearer for where the country expects you to be this year, or is that something you completely throw out the window and go, this is a new year, fresh start?
Well, I think I can answer that in two ways. First and foremost, I think preseason rankings and rankings in general are about as useful as a jackknifed manure spreader on the Santa Ana.
You'll have to explain that one to me after.
Sure, but we don't give them a lot of credence, and it's something that we race the races, and we have to prove if we're going to be the 17th best team in the country, and we do everything we can to get there, and that's where we end up, whether it's 17th, 25th, 8th. We're doing the same thing day in and day out. But I also want to say, for our young guys and guys looking at the program, 17th, that's simply not good enough, and that's not to say that team, in the entire NCAA, there's a lot of great teams, hardworking. We want to be a podium team year in, year out, and that's always the goal. And what goes into that has nothing to do with rankings. It's about working hard, and we want to get our women's team up there too. I mean, we're expected to, win MACs both years as an expectation, not because of our rankings, but that's where we hold ourselves. And we want to get the women's team to nationals this year. They're an exciting group. But that's essentially how we feel about rankings. I'm sure you could probably ask Maverick. He's got a few thoughts as well.
I know that he does. I've heard his thoughts before. But speaking of your women's team, it's incredibly veteran-laden. A ton of graduates and seniors on the program. Does that make your job easier as the director, just being like, all right, you guys know the drill. Teach the younger student athletes about what it takes to be successful at the collegiate level?
We've got a great locker room on the women's side. And the veteran leadership, our captains, Jess Sheriff, Danny Martino, we added Julia Kearley and Orla Moynihan. And 4 captains. I know some teams, they just pick one, but I think they all have leadership qualities that are going to help this team. And we challenge all our upperclassmen to be leaders to the youngsters. Jess Sheriff is somebody who ran at the NCAA championships her freshman year, and she wants to get back. And we had 3 girls at the first round of NCAAs in outdoor track, and that was a nice stepping stone. So I think we can do some good things. But the locker room, there's a really good vibe this year. I think our younger girls are coming into their own. We have some that junior class is really talented, and I think this is a year that they can really take a step forward because of the leadership that's there this year.
Well, the 2018 campaign begins this Saturday at the Marist season opener, the 8th straight year that the program is opening up the season up in Poughkeepsie. What about that event makes it a good season opener for you guys?
Well, we have a great relationship with Pete, the coach at Marist, and we usually go there, and it's a nice low-key event for us, but it's also a way we can gauge where some kids are at. And it's nice. It's a nice upstate jaunt. It's not too far. We do have to worry about you're going upstate. There's a lot of ticks out there, and Lyme disease is one thing, but there's been an uptick in rabbit fever that I want to make sure our kids are aware of. It's not a lot of people know about it, but it can be a painful couple weeks. You might even have to be hospitalized. Hopefully nobody gets it. There's only about 200 cases a year. But it used to be used as biological warfare by the Soviets, believe it or not.
You are just a walking encyclopedia. Did you know that?
Well, I'm well versed in rabbit fever now.
Well, we hope that the Gaels outrun any potential environmental dangers and the competition this Saturday. Director Joe Pienta, thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for your time, and we'll see you next Coach's Corner.